Wealth taxes have made the ballot in California. There's a union of healthcare workers that have gotten about 1.5 million signatures, which far exceeds the 875,000 that they needed to get this on the ballot in November. And what they're trying to do is issue a one-time 5% tax on billionaires in the state. Their goal is to raise about $100 billion. They want to use that to fund healthcare costs in the state of California. However, we've already seen some pushback from this, as there are several tech billionaires that have already left the state. Notably, Mark Zuckerberg left a few years ago, also Peter Thiel and David Sachs, as well as Google co-founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page. A former Facebook executive has also estimated that around $700 billion has already left the state in anticipation of this, and that about $1 trillion will end up leaving in total. So is this going to be a good move for California? A lot of the lower class and middle class may think so. However, we've seen initiatives like this in the United States fail before. States like New York, Washington, Rhode Island, and Hawaii have tried these in the past without success, so we haven't had precedent in the United States of seeing wealth taxes. However, other countries, particularly in Europe, have tried them. So what was the result there? In truth, they were able to raise some money from them, but it's not a significant amount like what people might think. Average tax revenues from these wealth taxes were about 0.5 to 1% of total revenue from the countries. And most of the time, these taxes end up being abolished because they're expensive to calculate. I mean, think about it. You have to send somebody into a billionaire's properties to value their paintings, to find how much gold they have, and then they have to come up with a figure that says, this is how much you owe based on all of this. That gets expensive pretty quick. Even though pensions and retirement plans and real estate wouldn't be something that would be taxable, they would have to go through and value all the private funds that they have, all the publicly traded companies that they own, and figure out what 5% of all that is going to be. My prediction is that this probably won't pass in California. However, it does have some billionaires concerned. But the thing about it is this. These guys can move pretty easily, and they're going to go to states like Nevada, Texas, and Florida where they don't have to worry about this sort of thing happening to them quite as much. It might seem like a good idea to tax these wealthy people, however, you have to remember that's where the investments come from in these states. So one thing that us as investors can watch for is, where can we profit off of this? I don't think that this is going to cause a major issue in the United States stock market as a whole. However, it could be an issue for local markets, for municipal bonds, and possibly for real estate in California. And it could also be a good thing for building companies and for local banks and REITs in states like Nevada, Florida, and Texas, where a lot of these people are probably going to end up going. It will be interesting to see how this all unfolds. Like and subscribe for more interesting financial stories.